The U.S. Senate has passed legislation to prevent a rail strike in a series of hurried negotiations just days before crucial shipments were set to be sidelined. Yahoo Finance's Rick Newman has been tracking all of this action. Good morning, Rick. How you doing? So it seems like that they have averted this. It seems like the president is set to sign it here. And I believe the sick leave provisions were kept out of this final agreement, correct?
Right. So basically what both houses of Congress have now done is basically ratified the deal, ordered both sides to accept the deal that was negotiated a couple of months ago at this point. There was a small chance, and Congress could have done this. They could have actually changed the deal and said, given the railway unions what they were asking for, which is instead of 1 sick day per year, raise that to 7 sick days per year. But it looks as if there were not the votes in the Senate to do that. The House actually did pass that, but it looked like the Senate just didn't have the votes. And let's keep in mind, it would have required 60 to overcome the filibuster in the Senate. But there were large numbers that voted in favor of just ratifying the deal that was there. And President Biden's going to sign this, and that's the end of the story. We're just not going to have to deal with a rail strike. And I think everybody's pretty relieved about that.
All right. Well, since it's the end of the story there, what about for the Supreme Court? They've agreed to hear President Biden's case on student loan debt forgiveness. Rick, what can we expect?
Well, the plot thickens there. Totally different story. So the courts have stopped in place Biden's debt forgiveness plan for up to $20,000 in student debt forgiveness. I think everybody following this knew there were going to be court challenges because Congress did not do this by passing a law. Biden did it by executive order, and there are real questions about whether he has the authority to do that. So legal action against it was inevitable. That happened. There were some appeals courts. At least 2 of them said, OK, we're putting the whole thing on hold while it goes through the legal process. The Biden administration went straight to the Supreme Court and said, instead of making this go through the courts for years, can the Supreme Court just take this case? And yesterday, the Supreme Court said, yes, they are going to take the case. They will hear it in February with a decision likely by the end of June, which is when the court's term ends. And I think there is considerable likelihood that the Supreme Court is going to say, no, the president does not have the authority to do this and strike the whole thing down. This Supreme Court does not worry about upsetting anybody with unpopular opinions, as we know from the overturn of Roe v. Wade last summer. So it is very possible the Supreme Court could say, no, the president can't do this, and it would not happen at that point.
Yahoo Finance's Rick Newman. Thanks for breaking this down and, of course, tracking all the moving parts. Appreciate it, Rick.